Hey guys, so for the code, we're going to start from the very top. If you want to change the names for the food types, you can. You do not have to do that. But if you do want to, the small fish is referring to the first costume that we made. So for me, that is a fly. And make sure you are careful with the spelling and whether or not you capitalize a letter or not, because that's going to be very important. And then the next one I made was a dragonfly. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and scroll down. And we're going to go ahead and go to this define food types. Underneath this, we're going to add from our control an if then else. We're going to go ahead and then go into operators and use an equal sign on the diamond shape. From here, we're going to add a pick random on the empty bubble. The pick random is going to be 1 to 4, and the 50 we're changing to a 3. We're going to go ahead and go into the variables tab, and we're going to add a set. We're going to then change this to food clone type. And this is where we're going to go ahead and rename. So if you kept it the same, then you'll name this small fish. And the second one will be turtle. If you rename it, then you know exactly which one you called yours. So I call this one fly. I'm going to duplicate this one and then call this one a dragonfly. Next, underneath, we're going to go ahead and go to the yellow events tab, and we're going to use when green flag is clicked. We're going to go into looks, and we're going to hide it. Next, again, if you've changed this, you need to change it again. So I'm changing this to fly. And I'm changing this to dragonfly. Again, if you did not change it, then you do not have to do this step. So the next block of code I'm going to do underneath, we're going to go with the yellow events tab, and we're going to use when I receive start. We're going to add a wait 1 second. Then we're going to add a forever. Inside of that forever, we're going to add an if then. For the diamond shape of the if then, we're going to use the greater than. The empty bubble is going to be 200. And the 50, we're going to go on to our variable tab. And we're going to add the all food variable bubble. Okay. Inside, we're going to go into control and add a repeat. Inside the repeat, we're going to go into operators and add a pick random from 25 to 50. We're going to go into the my block, and we're going to add food types. We're going to then add create food at. The first bubble we're going to change to negative 535. The second bubble, we're going to add a pick random, so I'm just going to duplicate it from here and add it in. And I'm going to change this to 415 to negative 400. Next, we're going to go into control and add another weight underneath. We're going to add a pick random. We're going to go ahead and change this from 0 to 2. Once we're done with that, underneath the repeat until, we're going to add another weight. We're going to change this to 5. Right. Once we're done, we're going to define what create food at is. So we're going to go into the variables tab, and we're going to add a set. We're going to change this to food x. to duplicate this and then change this to food Y. Same thing, X with X, Y with Y. And then we're going to go into control and create a clone of myself. Once I'm done with that, underneath this, we're going to add a when I start as a clone. We're going to use an if then. We're going to go into operators and use an equal sign. On the empty bubble, I'm going to go into variable and add food clone type. And the 50, we're going to go ahead and change this to what you called your first costume. So for me, it was the fly. However, for those of you who have not changed it, you're going to use the small fish for this one. Once you're done, we're going to go ahead and go on to looks. We're going to add a set color effect 2, and we're going to go into operators and add a pick random from 0 to 100. This is just to change the different colors. That's how you saw the different color fishes in the other game, to add different variations. We're going to go ahead and go onto the yellow events tab and use a when I receive start. We're going to add a repeat 10. Inside of it, we're going to set all food to 0. And then underneath that, we're going to go onto control and add a delete this clone. Next, we're going to go ahead and add a when I start as a clone. I'm going to go onto looks and add a show. Under that, I'm going to go into control and add a forever. I'm going to go into the blue motions tab and add a go to X and Y. For both of them, I'm going to go into operators and add the addition bubble. And starting from the very left-hand side, we're going to go into variable and use food X plus scroll X. And then food Y plus scroll Y. So now we're going to scroll down. This is where the second costume, we're going to create the animation for it. So if you kept it the same, you don't have to change it. However, if you didn't, you're going to go ahead and change it. And this is going to be for your second costume. I'm going to call this a, oops, I made it all lowercase. So dragon Y. And then we're going to go ahead and change their costumes. So this is my first one, this is my second one, and this is my third one. So since I do not have any more of these different costumes, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, underneath that weight, I'm going to grab the next costume, I'm going to disconnect it all, and I'm just going to delete it, because I only have 3 for this one. If you do have more, you can continue changing and then delete whatever you don't need anymore, or if you end up needing more than what there actually is needed, then you know that you just need to duplicate the costume with the weight and then change it. Once you're done doing it for this one, you want to go ahead and do the same thing for the second one, and that second one has to do with the small fish. So again, if you didn't change the name of it, you just have to change the costumes. If you did, then you have to rename it, and then you want to go ahead and change it. Okay. Once you're done with that, we're going to scroll down. And we're going to go ahead and look for this animation block. It's a little bit below. I'm just going to pick it up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start by adding a change all food by -1. Then we're going to go ahead and add a change score by 1, so that's how much points we get when we eat them. You can always increase this if you want. We're then going to go inside the blue motions tab and add a set rotation style to all around. We're going to go into control and add a repeat 10 and change to 1025. We're going to go inside the blue motions tab and add a turn right 15 degrees. And then we're going to go into looks and we're going to add a change size by -20. And with that, we are all done with our week 3 core lesson. You guys can go ahead and move on to the next video to do the deep dive lessons.